Good afternoon, and great to be here in Chicago. I remind everyone once a year when I'm here that I did my graduate work here, and so I'm always glad to come back to Chicago, even though the weather is not always so hospitable. Although at dinner last night, I was acknowledging that I usually say Chicago's my favorite show and attribute it to having lived here. But then I realized I lived in Detroit for 8 years, and that is not my favorite show. So I think it must just be because of the student experience or something. I love Chicago, and we always enjoy this show. And as Jeff mentioned, we want to talk a little bit today about our brand and some of the perceptions that persist, both partly within the journalist audience, but also very much with our consumers. And the past year in the auto industry, of course, has been very tough for everybody, I think virtually without exception. And at times it almost gets to the point where it seems as though good news is no news, and bad news certainly travels faster than good news. And we want to help work on making the good news travel a lot faster in Suzuki's case. And some of the reports about Suzuki simply aren't consistent with the facts, and we're going to go through the facts today. Some outlets have even talked about whether Suzuki is sticking around. Well, we have no plan to go anywhere, and so as Mark Twain said, reports of our demise have been exaggerated. And what we'd like to do first today is investigate some of these perceptions, what's driving them, and enlist your help in setting the record straight with the public, because we do have a much stronger story than a lot of consumers realize. Now here's a report that Consumer Reports put together recently about consumer brand perceptions. This is a year ago, and at that time Suzuki was ranked actually last. And this is again why we want to go through the facts today and help restore and establish perceptions with these consumers. Their score is based on 7 categories: safety, quality, value, performance, design, environment, and technology. And in that survey, we were last and well behind the then leader, Toyota. And in the more recent survey, it improved. We gained quite a bit. In fact, we were the 4th most improved brand, still close to the bottom. Interestingly, this score put us ahead of Mazda and tied with Infiniti, which could make you ask some questions about the test, but the underlying point is still the same. We know that the perceptions are not as strong as the reality that our brand brings forward to the market. And we don't agree with Stephen Colbert, who likes to ignore the facts and just focus on his opinion. We'd like to use today to go through the facts on all 7 of those categories and help communicate, we hope more clearly, to you and your readers, listeners, and viewers what the facts are about Suzuki. Now, first of all, let me take a moment just to remind you at Suzuki that something great is coming and is beginning to arrive, and that's our Kizashi. We launched the Kizashi last July to the press, and it began arriving in dealerships in extremely small volumes just a month or so ago, with this spring being the major thrust of our launch. But already, if you look at some of the quotes we've been receiving, this car is delivering on the promise we made when we showed you the concept that something great is coming. These are some of the quotes here, and we've even got it incorporated into some of our online advertising that shows that those are not just the few good ones we got, but that we have a virtual barrage of great accolades coming in on this new car, the Kizashi. If any of you haven't been behind the wheel of the Kizashi yet, it's in press fleets now. Please take some time to drive this car. We think words don't do it justice, but they certainly seem to be giving it their best shot. And this is a car that starts under 19 grand and is available well equipped for under 21.5. So Kizashi is definitely a big piece of news.